Thanks for joining us. I am Adam Phillips. I'm the CEO of American Business Systems. I want to thank you all for joining us today on our webinar. We're going to be talking about how in the world people are starting a medical billing business without any experience. I'm sure that's why you're joining today, because there's a lot of different training programs out there. There's a lot of different schools. There's a lot of different software companies. There's a lot of people in this industry providing education on, the technical aspect of medical billing and submitting claims and this, that, and the other. And there's a lot of software companies that are selling technologies directly to medical practices to try to help them. And of course, they're trying to make money off the medical practices by doing that. But there's not a company that really has put together all of the different pieces of the puzzle with a very big focus on helping individuals that have not necessarily been in the industry very long or at all, helping them build a business providing services to medical practices, like we're going to be talking about here in a moment. So if I could, if I am being heard, I'd like to know. So if I'm coming through loud and clear, if you can see me, if you could just look over to the control panel over there on the, should be on the right side of your screen, just type that you can hear me. And I got my webcam on, but it's not showing it to me. I've got these keynotes full screen here. So, all right, great. Larry's saying, I can hear you from Houston. All right, hey, Larry. Nevin says loud and clear. Trudy, can hear you. Matthew, I can hear you. Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad I'm coming through here. And of course, as always, we are recording this webinar. We will be posting this up to watch at a later time if you'd like to watch it at a later time or share it with someone else possibly. So thank you for joining us live. As we're going here, as we're going through this presentation, at any time, if you have any questions, just type it like you did into that question box. And we will be getting to your questions as we go here. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and jump right in here. What we're going to be talking about today is our opportunity as a whole, but what really kind of centers around the whole opportunity that we have is this cloud-based integrated platform that our owners are able to use and to market to medical practices. And it actually has a lot of really unique features that are some of the things that we have no other system has. And we're going to be talking more in detail about that. The fact that it's completely cloud-based, first of all, and runs on any of these devices that you see here. So, you'll be using some of these platforms if you, become one of our business owners. The medical practices themselves will be using some of these platforms. The patients can log in and use a certain platform, but they're all connected. They're all fully integrated. And they run on any Mac, any PC, any browser, tablets, iPads, iPhones, Android devices, Windows devices. So it just makes it very, very user-friendly. And they're actually seeing some really, really good results in terms of lowering their claim denials and rejections, which we're going to get a little bit into that later on. So I'm going to show you how that comes into play here. When you go through our program, when you complete our training, we certify you as a medical revenue manager. You may notice that we're not certifying you as a medical biller. Why is that? Well, that's because not only do we provide you with medical billing training, but we train you on so much more, because the only way for you to stick out in this industry is to be much, much more than what everyone else is doing. And I don't know if you've done any research on medical billing. I'm sure you probably have if you're on this webinar. But there's so much more to helping doctors, be able to focus on just practicing medicine. That's all they want to do. They don't have the time, they don't have the resources to really dig into their receivables and why some of them are getting paid, why some of them are not getting paid, why this claim was denied, why this one was rejected. They really are struggling with that. And so we have a lot of different services and solutions that can help them in a lot of different ways to shore up their revenue and help them thrive in private practice. So this is what you receive when you finish our training, is a CMRM certification. We certify you through MIRMA, which is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. They're the certification board that provides that certificate that you saw. This is just an example of some of the many services that you're able to offer as an owner of American Business Systems. And we're going to go into some of these on this webinar. I don't know if we'll be able to get to all of them, but the really important ones we're going to talk a little bit more about today. This is a family business. For those of you that don't know, my parents founded the company in 1994. They actually had started doing medical billing for doctors in the 80s, and it was a lot of trial and error. I mean, they really had no idea what they were doing, to be honest. My mom was doing some transcription work for doctors back then, and they actually had a friend who owned a durable medical equipment business. You know, he was selling oxygen tanks and canes and walkers and hospital, beds and just different things like that. It's called DME. And he asked her if she would be able to do his insurance billing one day. And she said, well, I don't know. I'm a quick learner. I've never really done it before. So they got together and she figured out how to do it. And this was, I mean, I don't know if any of you on this webinar are old enough, but she was using a typewriter. A typewriter is one of those mechanical devices, where you touch a button and it slams the key into the piece of paper, and it was typed on paper. And she actually was using, these what they call two-part forms to type them out. And if you make any mistake whatsoever, you've got to unroll it. You got to, maybe use whiteout. They have this white stuff called whiteout. You guys are probably too young to know about that, but it would correct it, and then you'd retype it, and it was just a big hassle. And you got to stuff all these in envelopes and postage and mail them, and then you got to sit around and twiddle your thumbs until it comes back and the insurance company says, no, you misspelled a word on this form, so we're not going to pay it, sorry. So it was a big pain. Anyway, we've gone so much beyond that now with our modern cloud-based systems, and there's a lot of the hard work and a lot of the technical stuff that we are doing for you on the back end through our software and some of the partners that we have. So it's become much, much easier for people to kind of get into this business and do this type of work for medical practices. Like I said on the beginning of the webinar here, my name is Adam Phillips. I am the CEO of the company now. I've been with the company for, almost 20 years now. It's been a long, long time. And I look forward to continuing this journey and doing everything that I can for our owners to provide them with tools and solutions and technology partners that are just going to help give them an advantage in this industry. I've co-written and written a couple of books that are coming out. I'm featured in the 10 Critical Questions for Physicians book that was written by Vicki Rackner. She's one of our partners in the MIRMA industry. And also, I'm about to be releasing this 9 ways physicians let money slip through their fingers. That's my new book that's coming out. It's not available yet. It's in final proof. So hopefully we can get you guys a copy of that at some point in the future if you want to take a look. There's me and my dad at one of our training sessions that we used to do. This was before COVID. We actually did live trainings in Dallas, Texas, and this was one of the pictures that we took. We don't do that anymore, and it's been very, very convenient and very, very awesome the way that we've been able to turn our training into a completely virtual training, so people don't have to leave home. And really, I mean, the majority of this business can be done virtually. Everything from start to finish, the training, a lot of the marketing and business development is done online. The work that you do for the doctors is done online with internet. So it's just very, very convenient for people, and it's the most pandemic-friendly business out there. As much as I hate to say that word, it's true. So hopefully today we can get a special guest on here. I have invited our VP of Business Development, Jason Pettit, to join us. And if he is here, he can jump in at any time. If he can hear me, I don't know, we were having some technical difficulties earlier, but we'll see if he's able to join us later and jump in with some comments. So let's see if we've got any questions. Oh, we're already getting some questions here.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I don't
Salma
know if
said,
you can see me, but I can see you. I don't know if
"Oh,
this,
okay.
am I live? Is it on?
Yes, I think you're live. I can hear you, and it's weird because I went full screen and I can't see myself either. I thought that's kind of strange, but everybody said they can see me. So, but yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. And I was just going to see if there was any questions here real quick. Let's see. Salma is asking, how much does the training cost? Well, Salma, we're going to get into the cost of the business. Basically, everything that we're going to be talking about today, everything is included for one upfront licensing fee. And it's similar to a franchise. You know, any franchise that you're going to be getting involved in, they're going to be providing all kinds of back-end tools and training and ongoing support and marketing assistance, and they charge a licensing fee, you know, for you to get all of that. So we're going to be talking about that when we get to the end here. Let's see. Salma, oh, she's asking about the training again. Nevin says, I can see you, Jason. Lakita is asking, how can this benefit someone that has been in the business for 15 plus years? That's a good question. I mean, I don't really know what your role has been, Lakita. I mean, if you are saying that you have been working as an employee for a doctor or a hospital, and maybe you have a lot of coding or billing experience, that's extremely helpful. She's also saying, what if I don't need training? Well, if you don't need training, if you don't need assistance in getting clients, you don't need any help with marketing, you don't need us at all. So this may not be a good fit for you, Lakita, if you've already got your own business and you've been doing it for 15 years. This is really more designed for people that are kind of starting from zero, and they have a good feeling that healthcare is a strong industry to be in, but they're just not quite sure how to get involved and how to start their own business without any guidance or marketing assistance or anything. I mean, we put together everything, all of these partner relationships that you're going to learn about. We've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on all these different marketing materials that you'll see. You get your own website, so it's truly everything from start to finish. Any other thoughts on that, Jason?
No, that pretty much covered it. It's a bumper to bumper system. The full suite is included that allows you to offer 12 different services to doctors, and it's designed to help you get your business off the ground very quickly. Most of our owners are up and running in about 30 days, which for a startup business is very fast. And most of our owners pick up their first client pretty quickly as well, 60 to 90 days. So everything's included. If you've never started your own business, it's got the training wheels on for you. We can help you get up and running really quickly. If you started businesses before, but maybe not a medical billing business, then we've got everything you need for the medical billing as well.
Excellent. Yeah, and she actually added another comment down here. I'm just an employee. I do need you, she said. Well, we would love to help you take this and, instead of doing what you're doing, I'm assuming you're doing some kind of billing or coding work probably, and instead of making money for other people, we would love to help you start your own business and make more of that money and keep it for yourself. That's what we do. So let's talk a little bit about the industry itself. There's still people that ask me, is there really a need for medical billing services? I mean, aren't doctors doing this in-house? Like, what's the big deal? Well, as you can see from this little screenshot here, we've got this market analysis report, and it's just talking about the overall growth of the revenue cycle management market. So there's an entire industry, an entire market that is referred to as RCM, or revenue cycle management, which means they are doing medical billing, they're helping with that, but they're also doing all kinds of other things with the practices to help them grow their revenue and manage their revenue. Well, as you can see, it was valued at what is that, 120.7 billion in 2020, and it's expected to grow by 11.2% from the years 2021 to 2028. So there's just a continuing need for these types of services, because every year it seems like it gets harder and harder for private practice doctors to manage their money. I mean, the government is always coming out with new payment models and methods and new code databases and just new rules and regulations and all kinds of stuff they have to try to keep track of. It's just becoming very, very difficult. And they're realizing more and more, you know what, if I had a professional company that's just focused on my revenue cycle, then they can focus on that and I can focus on practicing medicine, which is what I want to do. I don't want to mess with the numbers. You know, they're typically not good business people. They don't go to school for business, they go to school for medicine. So yeah, so there's that quote I was showing just a minute ago about the growth. Where did we get that from? Healthcare, IT. Yeah, I forget where we got that, but anyway, it's there it is right there. So let me talk a little bit about this quote here from Nicholas Raup. He says 1 in 4 denials. So we're talking about claim denials and rejections and things like that. Well, 1 in 4 denials originates in registration and eligibility. It's time to take a hard look at the dollars and time these denials represent and focus on denial prevention. So basically, there are some features that are in great disrepair in some other software systems and technologies that practices are using. And there's a lot of clunky software out there. There's a lot of stuff that's not cloud-based. There's a lot of stuff that is not integrated with, you know, like the doctors will have, you know, one medical record system that they're using, and then they're using a separate practice management billing system. And sometimes they have to hire someone to literally do double data entry from the medical record system into the billing system, you know, whenever the doctor gets done treating the patient. So it's highly inefficient. And a lot of these systems don't have a very efficient way of making sure that the registration information, in other words, the patient demographic information is put into their system correctly. And we can talk a little bit about this a little bit later, but basically, if you've got anything wrong in the patient's demographic information, like their name is misspelled or their address is wrong, or just something really simple like that, like a typo, that could cause a denial claim. You know, an insurance company could say, nope, you spelled their name wrong, denied. And also, if you're not checking their eligibility, you know, to make sure that they're actually eligible, their insurance is active, that could cause a big problem as well, obviously. And there's systems that don't do that very efficiently, and ours does. So we are going to get into that later. Let's see. So medical billing denials are avoidable. How to help prevent the top 5. All right, let's talk a little bit about this article that just came out recently. Let me move my control panel here. All right, so let me just read this to you. In medical practices, medical billing denial rates range from 5 to 10%, with better performers averaging 4%. Some organizations see denial rates as high as 15 to 20%. Why is that? It's because, like I just mentioned, there's a lot of inefficient software systems out there that don't even talk to each other. They're not cloud-based. They're not updated on a regular basis. And also take into account inefficient staff. You know, there's a lot of doctors that have people in-house that are underpaid or overworked or undertrained, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So that all comes into play with these numbers. For those providers, 1 out of every 5 medical claims has to be reworked or appealed, and a rework costs an average of $25 per claim. And success rates vary from 55 to 98%, depending on the denial management team's capabilities. In other words, if they're undertrained and they're doing it in-house, they're probably just overwhelmed with work, and it's really, really hard for them to focus on appealing those claims because they've got to just keep sending in the new claims that keep coming in, you know? So it's just very, very difficult to do it in-house. And when all else fails, write-offs can range from 1 to 5%. A lot of stuff they're just writing off and giving up on because they just simply don't have time to mess with it. So it's a big issue right now.
Adam, if I could tag on to that really quickly, there's another statistic in this category that's really interesting. If you go backwards onto that previous slide, so you're dealing with a 2-stage problem. The first stage that you have is you have these claims that are being denied the first time that they're sent through, and that's addressed in the first couple of points there. But then you have the reworking of the claims. That means that after the claim has been denied, somebody has to pull that denial, pull the patient chart, try to figure out what the problem was, and rework and resubmit that claim. A really interesting statistic on this is studies have shown that only about 40% of the first time denied claims are reworked and resubmitted. So we're seeing the success rate of 55% to 98% on those reworked claims, but that does not address that there's around 40% that are never touched again. Actually, 60% are never touched again, only 40% are reworked. So if you think about this, the vast majority of the claims that are denied are left untouched. It's lost revenue for the doctor. The doctor writes those off at the end of the year on their taxes as a business loss. So if we can capture even a portion of those denied claims that are not getting reworked, if we can recapture those, and remember, 60% of those are untouched, then we can move into bringing that doctor's revenue higher and higher as we get that rejection rate tighter and tighter to what it really should be, which our system runs nationwide at less than a 2%. So there's huge opportunities to improve doctors' revenue, and it's one of the biggest values that our owners bring to private practice physicians. We can really pump that revenue up.
That's exactly right. Yeah, good comment there. And we, again, our system makes it very, very easy and effective for you to be able to appeal those denials. And we've got some really cool technologies. We've even got some new technologies in the works that we haven't released yet that are just going to make it so much easier for people to do appeals and such, that are kind of that's such a laborious process for some doctors. We make it very easy. So that's all going to add up to money in their pocket. And of course, you get paid on it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's another little chart here. Let's see. Denials are preventable. This is just showing you that 86% of denials out there, kind of in general, are potentially avoidable, and only 14% are unavoidable. And they're avoidable because of the different things that we've mentioned already, in terms of just verifying all of the registration, demographic information and making sure that's correct. Doing things like instant eligibility checks. Our system, you can click a button and it checks their eligibility instantaneously before they even come in for the visit. But not only that, but it will also do another instant eligibility check right before the claim gets submitted. So we're checking it on the front end, and we're checking it right before on the back end, right before the claim gets submitted. So those little steps, those little features that we have in our system are what really is pumping up the claims being paid and reducing the denials all the way down to less than 2%. I mean, we have some of our owners that if you guys want references, we can provide references. We have some owners that have said, yeah, my doctors are less than like 1.5%. I mean, it's almost zero. It's just amazing, like how efficient our system is. So. All right, let's see. Here's another screenshot with the EMRX. Now, this EMRX shot over here on the left, this is where the doctors are throughout the day. This is the medical records platform. And then on the right side here, you'll see a picture of iClaim, and it's sitting on an iPad right now. So someone on the front desk, the front office can use this for scheduling. As you can see, we're looking at a schedule right here. And then, of course, there's several other features that the front office will use in terms of iClaim and such. But yeah, that's kind of some of the screenshots and what it looks like. Let me give you a little quote from this book. Now, this is a book that was written by Dr. Vicki Rackner. She's one of our partners, who you guys have actually may have seen some webinars that we've done with her. She wrote this book, The Myth of the Rich Doctor. And this is a great title because a lot of people still think, oh, doctors are just like, they got money coming out of their ears. That may used to be the case, and there certainly are some specialties that are doing really, really well. But there are some like family practice doctors and some other specialties that not making nearly as much as they used to. So let me read this to you. She says, physicians in private practice all walk away from an average of 30% of their incomes when they do not follow up on rejected insurance claims. Outsourcing your medical billing could bring the claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. This may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. It doesn't get any more plain than that. She has done the research. She has been in the field. She has talked with many, many doctors, and she herself had seen before she retired, had seen benefits in outsourcing her medical billing. So that's just another proof that it's a legitimate service that needs to be seriously considered if you're seriously thinking about getting into this business.
Adam,
All right.
I don't know if you remember 15 years ago when I first got into the business with American Business Systems, but one of the things that you recommended to me, because just like probably a lot of people on this webinar, I was a little skeptical. Why do doctors need help with this? Why can't they just do it themselves? And so I'll never forget this. You invited me to participate in one of the live training sessions that ABS was giving, and there were a few ABS owners in that training. And I just went up to the owners and I said, hey, Adam's telling me that these doctors struggle with rejection rate and they have problems managing their cash flow and their claims reimbursement process. Is that what you're actually seeing with your clients that you're picking up and the doctors that you're talking to and marketing to? And every single owner that I spoke with at the training, and I also made a lot of calls. Adam was nice enough to share a list. I like to do my research just like everyone else. I talked with a lot of ABS owners, and over and over and over, what I heard was, you wouldn't believe the struggles that some of these doctors have. Now, not every doctor has an office that struggles and has huge rejection rates and everything, but by and large, that's what our owners are seeing. So 15 years ago still holds true today. We still hear back from our owners, and they're sharing with us that doctors are struggling with high rejection rates and loads of other problems too.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem to get any better for the poor doctors. I mean, you would think 15 years ago, you would think, oh, well, it was a mess back then with, crummy technology and all that. But no, we've got all of these new modern services and systems, and they are still able to, I mean, it's a free market. And I don't know if you guys have done much research on software, but I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of different software packages out there that doctors can buy. Sometimes they just find the cheapest one they can possibly find. The same goes for medical billing services. I mean, sometimes they try to find the cheapest medical billing service they can find. And what we have found is when it comes to software, when it comes to medical billing companies, revenue cycle companies, you ultimately get what you pay for. So we have heard testimonials from some of our owners that have said, yeah, I was going to do business with this doctor, and they decided to go with this other company that was charging a much lower percentage, and it seemed like maybe they were outsourcing their own outsourcing overseas or something. That's why they were able to do it so cheap. They weren't sure, but anyway, the doctor went with the other company, and then ended up, a few months later, that licensee got a call from the doctor and said, hey, can we go to lunch? I want to talk to you about this because this didn't work out so well, this other company. So what they're looking for and what really speaks volumes to them is someone who is the owner of the company in their neighborhood. That is huge. If you can tell a doctor, I am the owner of this company and here's what we do, and you can have my cell phone and I live right down the street. And if you have a problem, you can call me and I will fix it immediately. I mean, that is huge to them because you're dealing with their money, you're managing their money, so that's the type of level of customer service that doctors are looking for, and that's why our owners are getting so much business now. They're positioning themselves in that way. This is just kind of a little a little picture of what revenue cycle management really means. I mean, there's several different steps to it. And our licensees have some hand in all of this here in some form or fashion, without having to do a lot of the actual technical work, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But it starts with data collection, which we talked about that a moment ago, the registration, the claims preparation, the eligibility checking, and then it goes into the claims transmission. So there's a process there of doing the coding and actually sending the claim in. And then comes the management part, where it actually comes back into whatever system that you have, like our iClaim system, for example. And then you're able to, register that information back into the patient records. Then there's also AR follow-up that happens. And then there's reporting. Step 5 is reporting. So that's the whole kind of revenue cycle there. But the cool thing, like I just mentioned, the cool thing is there's a lot of this technical stuff that we actually take care of for you. So we have some really, really cool partners and technology companies that are going to be doing a lot of this stuff on your behalf. And so this is what sets you apart. And this is why this webinar is, how to start a medical billing business with no experience, because we have the experience. That's why. Let's see if we've got some questions here. Alex says, hi, Jason, nice to see you. Alex is asking, how do you acquire a first client in 60 days? What marketing route do you suggest? Well, we didn't really get into marketing techniques yet. Do you want to maybe just touch on that, Jason?
Sure. We'll just keep it brief here. I'd recommend, if you want to go into more detail and discuss all of the marketing strategies that ABS teaches, you get with the representative that you're working with. So there's 3 basic flavors of how we teach our owners to go about engaging with potential physician clients. So the first way is actually pretty simple. You're working with connections that you personally have to physicians. Now, you might not know any doctors one-on-one with a direct relationship. You might know an office manager, you might know a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or you may know someone or have a friend or family member or business associate who can introduce you to a physician. So that would be what I would call the first circle of influence. People that you might be 1 or 2 steps connected to that could introduce you to a physician. The second phase would be working with business networking groups, broadening your reach, so to speak, so that you're working with other professionals who in turn have physicians as their clients. So the idea here is you're getting attorneys, CPAs, business lenders, general contractors, different professionals in these business networking groups that can help introduce you to the physicians that are their clients. And then the third step, and this is kind of the nuclear weapon in the arsenal, is working with professional medical sales reps. And this is highly effective for one main reason. Working with professional medical sales reps allows you to cut out all the rapport building and getting to know people and working on, that warm network. Instead, you're working with the sales professional who has a monetary incentive to introduce you to their physician clients that they've already worked with, they already know, and they can make that introduction very quickly. So it's faster, and you can be a little bit more granular on what types of clients that you want to be introduced to. For instance, with our system, there are certain types of specialty medicine physicians that tend to get the best benefits from our technology and our services. Things like cardiology, pain management, and there's about 20 or 30 different specialty medicine types, and they just get really powerful results. Also, as a sidebar, those types of specialty medicine physicians, when they become a client for you, are going to generate a lot more money. A cardiologist does a lot more in revenue than a general practitioner or family doctor. So if you're targeting your marketing, then you're able to not only work with the doctors and get engagement with the doctors who tend to get stronger benefits, you're also going to benefit yourself as well by generating more revenue for yourself and for your company. So using medical sales reps allows you to get more granular. So now you can say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Sales Rep, I'm looking for cardiology practices or podiatry practices or pain management practices. I'm looking for 3 to 5 doctor group practices, and I'd like introductions to the office managers, and a good medical sales rep ought to be able to make 3 or 4 or 5 introductions like that very quickly. They can also give you that business intelligence behind the scenes. They can say, hey, here's the office manager's name. Here's when they go to lunch. Here's when they entertain these types of calls, maybe 2 o'clock right after lunch, or maybe just before lunch. They can give you that business intelligence so you're better prepared to go into the initial fact finding that our owners do. So that can be a great way to very quickly get connected with the types of doctors that are the best clients for our owners. If you want to learn more, give your rep a call, and we'd be happy to go into a lot more detail on that. But we're the experts at marketing to doctors. We've been doing it for almost 3 decades.
That was awesome. Hope you guys were writing that down. That was good stuff. All right, so I clicked a button here and I can actually see you and see me now. I guess,
Good job.
can you guys still see the slides? I went to the next slide there. Do you see that medical coder versus medical biller? All right, hopefully everybody can see that.
Adam,
right,
I'm still seeing the revenue cycle management slide. So it hasn't changed. There you go. It just changed.
Okay. All right. Great. So just a little brief explanation here. If for any of you that have been doing research on this industry, you'll find a lot about medical coding and medical billing, and are they the same? Are they different? And they are quite different, but they're very much associated with each other. So what a coder does is a coder actually takes the doctor's notes, the notes that they write during the encounter with the patient. In other words, the doctor will examine the patient, and then the doctor will make a diagnosis and say, this guy's sick. He's got the flu, and so they'll write those notes down, and then he'll make a recommendation on, well, I think this person needs some medicine, some flu medicine. So we're going to write that down, and then they do more than that. But basically, the medical coder will take a look at that chart and turn those notes into medical code. So every diagnosis, everything that can go wrong with the human body, there's a code number that goes along with that. And so that's what the coder does, is they put that onto the charting information to be given to the medical biller. So then the medical biller receives that chart. It used to be on paper. It's almost all electronic now, but believe it or not, there are some doctors that still do this on paper, which is hard to believe. But they'll get the chart and they'll actually input all of this information, all of the patient information, demographic information, coding information, and they get it processed and submitted to the insurance company. So that's the kind of the difference there. Let's see. So there used to be these big, I say used to be, they still have these big giant books called CPT books. CPT is current procedure terminology. And basically it's all the different codes for diagnoses and treatments and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny to me that there's people that still have to use these books, because we actually have these giant coding databases built into our system and automatically updated and maintained by us. So in other words, every year you've got to get another one of these books, because there's codes that leave, there's new codes that are added. It's changing every year, it's updated. But what we do is we update our system automatically, so that every morning when your doctors log in to the EMRX platform that we have, all the codes are there. The new codes are there. The old codes are gone. They can't use an incorrect, out-of-date code. So it just makes it very, very easy for your doctors and very easy for you to process all this information and make sure you get it right the first time. Let's see.
I'll add a little bit to that. A lot of systems don't even include the diagnosis and procedure code. That's an add-on that you have to purchase and import those code databases, which you have to do continuously when they're updated. And a lot of people don't know this, but the ICD-10 diagnosis code database was recently changed over. So currently we're using ICD-10. Previously we were using ICD-9, of course. ICD-9 had about 17,000 codes, diagnosis codes. ICD-10 has over 70,000 diagnosis codes. So back in the old days, before October of 2015, when doctors were using ICD-9, they could memorize a lot of the codes that they use frequently. So they knew ICD-9 pretty closely. When it changed over to ICD-10, we got an exponential increase in the number of codes. So now physicians, it's much more difficult to memorize all of the codes that you might use. There's just a lot more variance. You may have a certain diagnosis that it used to have 2 different codes you could use, and now it has 8 or 10. And how do you remember all of those day to day? So we actually have in the software, we have a feature called a crosswalk, and it will help the physicians when they're selecting the codes. They pick the ICD-9 code that they're familiar with, then they can click a button and it will show the corresponding ICD-10 codes. It's a really cool feature, saves a lot of time, and it's just one more thing that helps doctors tighten up their revenue, because more optimal codes means more optimal reimbursement. If you haven't had a software demo of our iClaim billing and practice management electronic health record system, definitely get with your rep and ask for a demo. It's one of my favorite parts of the due diligence process.
Yep, that's good stuff, and you're right. I mean, if they don't get it right the first time, they're going to be dealing with a lot of denied claims. And the fact of the matter is, there's an average of 50% of denied claims that are never resubmitted. Why is that? It's because the doctors simply don't have time, and the staff don't have time, because a lot of times there's not it's not a perfectly understandable reason of why it was denied. Maybe sometimes there's something easy that they can fix and resubmit, but a lot of times you've got to really just sit there and analyze the whole thing and figure out why was this denied, because sometimes they don't make it easy to figure out. So that's why they just end up writing off a lot of stuff and not getting paid on it, because they're just strapped for resources and time. That's what it boils down to. We've got about 15 minutes left. That hour went by quick. I'm going to try to get through some of this. We went into a lot of stuff about coding here, but the point that we're trying to make with the coding part is it is vital to the doctor's revenue, and we have a service where our certified coders will do this work for you if a doctor needs help with it. So let me see if I can explain that a little bit better. I mentioned that all of our medical codes are included in our cloud-based medical record systems that the doctors can use. So if a doctor is comfortable with doing their own coding, which a lot of them are, because we make it so darn easy to do, that it's very easy to quickly look up codes, or, as a matter of fact, before they even go in to treat the patient, the system starts looking at different things and suggesting different things as the doctor is moving through the EMRX platform. So in other words, by the time they get to the coding part, the system says, okay, well, you've been dealing with patient, Mary Ann, and Mary Ann, you put in that she has a high fever and, she has all the symptoms of flu. So you're probably going to want to use this diagnosis code for flu. So it just makes all these recommendations that just makes it very easy for them to say, yeah, that's what I need right there. Click, one button, click, and it's done. Now, that being said, there are some specialties, that deal with tons of different codes, and it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more to it. So you may have a client that you sign that says, hey, I need somebody to help me with my coding. I don't have time to really do it. I don't have anybody on staff. And that is where you would offer them our Code Right service, okay? So we have this service where our coders will go into the system and read the doctor's chart and do the proper coding, and then send the claim over to you, the biller, to process the claim. And this is awesome because you, as an owner, medical biller / owner of a billing company, you don't have to be certified in coding. We have a whole team of coders that have been certified, and this is a service that you can charge extra money for on top of the percentage that you're charging for doing the billing work. So it's just really cool because it's a nice ancillary service where you get to make a little bit more money on top of the percentage for billing, which is somewhere around 6 to 9% usually of the claim. And yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, Jason, but that's kind of the point that we were trying to get to with all this coding stuff.
Well, revenue improvement is the name of the game. Why would a doctor choose to work with one of our owners compared to hiring someone to do the claims filing in their office, someone on staff, or sending it out to a different third-party company. What makes our owner different? What makes our owner different is the results we can achieve. If you're able to deliver a 20 to 30% increase in revenue for your physician client, why in the world wouldn't they be interested in talking to you? Imagine if your boss came to you and said, hey, I'm going to give you a 20% raise. You're making $100,000 a year now. I'm going to take your pay to $120,000 a year. It's ridiculous, right? Nobody gets 20% raises. So the first thing you're going to do is say, what in the world? What does that mean? Like, am I going to have to work, 8 days a week? And what if they said, no, actually, we're going to ask you to take Fridays off from now on? It's preposterous, but that's almost what we're doing for doctors. What we're doing is our owners are going in and saying, most doctors improve their revenue 20 to 30% using our services, and we're actually going to reduce your workload. We're going to take all the pain and the frustration of the claims filing process and all the other little things that have to happen during the day. We're going to handle that, but we're going to put money in your pocket to do it. Doctors make huge net profit using the services of our owners. And that's how you get clients right there.
That's exactly right. That's how you differentiate yourself. If you guys have done any searching online, you'll find tons of medical billing companies in your area. But when you start clicking on their websites and you see what they're offering, they're just offering medical billing. They're offering to submit the claims and follow up on the claims. That's it. They're not offering to do any specific coding work, any code auditing that we can do. Let's talk about some of this other stuff. So here's the code right again. Here's another service we've got called Audit Guard, which kind of relates to coding, but it's an auditing service. So in other words, we have a technology company that can come in and review all of the patient charts, a large chunk of the patient charts that a doctor currently has, and basically do a full audit and make recommendations. And what they're going to do is they're going to come back with all of these productivity reports and detailed coding reports, and they're going to make recommendations for, okay, doc, you're doing this right and you're not doing this right, and you should probably be doing this over here. And they're going to make recommendations on how to basically help the doctors improve their performance and make sure that they're coding everything properly. And what it does is it not, of course it's going to improve their revenue, but it also helps protect them if they had any concerns about Medicare coming in and doing an audit. Medicare has actually been really cracking down on practices and doing a lot of audits on them. And any little thing that they're doing wrong, they could be fined enormously, enormous fine. So this Audit Guard service helps protect against that. This service that we have called Compliancy Guard, this is another kind of technical service that a lot of practices don't even think about, but they need it so bad. Because HIPAA is another government organization that's coming in and saying, well, you left a bunch of papers sitting out, on your front desk here. That's not HIPAA compliant. We're going to fine you $100,000. It's very, very serious. Basically, it's treating the patient data, protecting the patient data is what HIPAA is all about. And so we have a service that will come in and help train all the staff on an ongoing basis, even if there's turnover. There's a cloud-based system where they can go in and stay up to date on HIPAA compliance, and it just makes it very easy for them to maintain their HIPAA compliancy. And this is another service that we are doing all the work for you, but you get to mark it up and make money on it as an owner of our business. Let's see, patient payment plans. So we have a service called Choice Pay, which allows patients to pay their portion of their bill that they owe that's not covered by insurance through a bank draft, credit card, whatever they want. There's a merchant services feature built in if a doctor needs that, and that's another one of our very helpful services for doctors. We've got this quick collect service here, which is collecting on past due accounts receivables. And you might be thinking, I got to actually call little old ladies and try to get money out of them. No, this is another one where we have a partner that is dedicated to doing this in a proper way, and it's a series of letters and phone calls. So it is a collection service. It's similar to it, but we're doing all the work, and you are not. So basically, This is another service where you get to make a transactional revenue, and we're doing all the work. So this is another reason why you don't need experience in doing this. I think I've got one more here. So this last one here I wanted to talk about was our brand new service called virtual care. So this is remote patient monitoring. And if you haven't done any research on this, you need to research this service because it is going to be huge. It's exploded since COVID and all that. But what it is it's actually staff. We have a virtual staff that actually will monitor patients and monitor their vitals and record that information for patients that are not able to leave their homes or bedridden at home and different things like that. So this is a very much needed service, and we can talk to you more about this if you want to chat with us over the phone. But it's a really big one. It's going to be exploding because of the need for remote monitoring because people can't leave their homes because they're sick or COVID or whatever else. All right, let's take a look. I did get another comment that said they couldn't see the slides, so hopefully you guys are seeing that. A couple more questions here. I've got one from Ryan. Does your system work equally well with dental practice, or does your system work better for physicians? Do you want to touch on that, Jason?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do have a dental billing system. A dental billing is a little different than medical billing. It's not quite as complex. If you think about this, a dentist mostly works with procedures that have to do with the patient's mouth, right, the teeth. But a medical doctor, it's head to toe. So just the sheer number of procedures that are possible, it's so much higher, the complexity is so much higher with medical doctors. So what that means is dental billing we can't provide quite the same advantages to a dentist that we can a medical doctor. The 20 to 30% revenue improvement, all of the bells and whistles we can do for a medical doctor, it's just not quite as strong of a benefit for the dentist. We've got a great system, it works well. There's also another little bit of a downside. Think about how much a dentist is going to get reimbursed or what kind of revenue a dentist is going to do compared to a physician, especially when you consider specialty medicine like cardiology and podiatry and pain management. The volume of revenue is much higher with a medical doctor compared to a dentist. So yes, we can help dentists. We have a great system. You can provide services to dentists, but if you're able to choose, we definitely want you to target your marketing towards specialty medicine private practices. That's where the money's at. That's where the benefits are strongest.
Yep. Yeah, give us a call, Ryan. We can chat with you more about that. But we are in that market now, the dental market. So that's good. Let's see. Lakita is asking, is there a specific clearinghouse that'll be used? That's a good question. That's another thing that actually makes us very unique is the technology partner that created all the platforms that we've been talking about. They actually started out as a clearinghouse themselves. So not only is the billing practice management platform, the electronic medical records platform, the patient portal that the patients use, all of those were built by the same development team, but also the clearinghouse itself was built by that same development team. So all four of those platforms are built and managed by the same team under the same roof. So in other words, you don't even have to worry about, oh, well, do I need to use this clearinghouse for these insurance companies? Do I need to use this one over here? Connecting it to your system. It's just automatically connected, and we can send out to any insurance payers, public, private, you name it. So it just takes all the worry and hassle out of the clearinghouse part, and it's just included in the platform. There's not an extra fee for it either. So that was a good question there. She says a good system is key. I am loving this. Let's see.
Get a demo of the system if you haven't had one already. I promise you'll enjoy it. It's very educational. Send an email to your rep, and any of us would be happy to help you with the software demo. It really is a lot of fun and very educational.
Yep, good stuff. You are not alone. We have hundreds of support partners and support business coaches from coast to coast that can help you with support. The other thing that you get when you become an owner is you get lifetime support from us. We don't charge you any extra for that either. And why is it that we do that? It's because, of course, we want you to be successful. We actually have some relationships with some technology partners where we make a little bit of money from our software partners whenever you sign up clients. So as you can see, we are motivated to do whatever we can to help you build your business, and that's why we don't charge any extra for ongoing support. You know, we don't want to nickel and dime you to death. We want you to succeed, and we want you to have access to our support partners and support team for as long as you need it. Like Jason mentioned, we do live demos. So we would be happy to give you a live demo of the iClaim system. Just get back with the person that sent you the invite to this webinar. Or you can call our main number. It's on our website. It's absystems.com. And we can put you in touch with somebody to get one of those. We provide the experience so you can focus on building your business. That's how you can start your own medical billing business with no experience, because we provide the experience. We provide the professionals that are doing a lot of the back end heavy lifting for you while you're building your business. So hopefully that makes sense. We are the only company in the world that is offering a 100% money back guarantee. So what we will do essentially is we will let you go through our entire training. Our training is 10 modules that are done with a live instructor over GoToMeeting. And we will essentially let you go through all of those training modules and then decide, is this business really right for me or not? If for any reason you feel like, well, you know what, this isn't what I thought it was, you can ask for your money back. And that's in writing in our agreement. So what are the next steps? Let's talk about the next steps. Well, it's pretty simple. We have a research guide. If you have not seen that, it's actually a pretty extensive. It's like a 50-page PDF document, and we can send you a link to that research guide. Just get back to the person that invited you here, and we all have different links that we can send you to download that. And that goes into a lot of detail on the services, how they work, what kind of money can be made on each of the services that we've been talking about. And there's actually a lot of stuff that we haven't even touched on in this webinar that you can offer to doctors, multiple streams of revenue that we haven't even touched on today. So definitely check that out. Here's kind of what it looks like. There's some screenshots there, but yeah, like I said, it's a 50-page PDF document, so it's a lot to go through there. Once you've gone through that, definitely check out our YouTube channel. We have it's youtube.com/YABS. We have, what is it, hundreds of interviews with folks that have built this business to become successful, and all kinds of stuff out there that would help you in your research. So you definitely want to check that out. There's a screenshot there. All kinds of good content out there. Interviews with people that just went through training, talking about the training itself. People that have been in the business for 15 years talking about it. People that have just started and got their clients quickly. All kinds of good stuff. And then we mentioned this earlier, you can ask for a reference list. We would love for you to chat with people out there that are actually doing it, people that are in the field doing it. So if you want to talk to some of our licensees, some of our owners, ask for that list and we can help you out there. There's some of them right there. All right, and then we did mention asking for a live demo. That's another step that you can take after you've done some of that other stuff, is get a live demo of the system. We will walk you through it and show you how the doctors interact, how the patients interact, how you will be interacting with the system, every aspect of it. So you'll get a good idea of how it works and the benefits of it. And then we have a purchase agreement. So whenever you're ready to review that, we can send that right away. You don't have to commit to anything. If you want to just review it, you don't have to commit to signing it, of course. But if you'd like to review it, just reach out to us and we can send that to you so you can check it out. It's nothing like a franchise agreement. I don't know if we made that clear. This is not a franchise. We're actually helping you with your own startup company. You're creating your own startup, basically, with our help. So in other words, you're coming up with your own name, your own brand identity, your own logo. You get a website that we include that we'll put your information on. Everything is there. So that's how that works. Let's see.
Adam,
lastly,
I was going to say we are at after the top of the hour, so we may want to just show the remaining ones there and wrap it up.
Yes, sir. That's it. Funding and training. So whenever you're ready, you send in your agreement and your funding, and you schedule your training. And we can actually have your training scheduled within a matter of days after we receive your agreement. We can have your first training module scheduled and booked very, very quickly and get started. And that takes a couple of weeks to get through all those modules, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, depending on your schedule. And we actually will work around your schedule as well. If you've got a full-time job or something, we can work with you. We can do the training after hours, weekends if we have to, whatever we got to do to get it done. So that's pretty much it. We are out of time. Thank you guys for joining us. If we didn't get to your questions, please send those to us in an email. We'd be happy to answer those questions for you. And we do these every week, every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Central. So if you want to find out what's happening next week, you can just go to that website address right there, avsystems.com/webinars, every Wednesday, 4 o'clock Central. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today, and everybody else. Yeah, everybody else, thanks for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.